There is no accident in the fact that you are hearing these words right now. Life has conspired not by chance but by law to bring you to this very moment, because something inside you has shifted, whether consciously or unconsciously. You have reached for something greater, and now the echo of that decision is showing up as this message. You are on the verge of stepping into the life that has been waiting for you all along. But like every birth, there is a moment of contraction before expansion. And that's where you are, right on the edge of the new, feeling the old crumble beneath your feet. Neville Goddard said, "Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you, nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. It is your imagination, your assumptions, your inner conversations that shape the world you see. You have been unknowingly or knowingly preparing yourself for this breakthrough, and the fact that you are here now is evidence that it's closer than you think. It often feels darkest before the dawn, not because things are getting worse, but because the old version of you is dissolving. It is fighting for its last breath, while the new you is ready to be born. You don't need to look for more signs. You are the sign. This very moment is your confirmation that you are on the right track. This is why so many people miss their breakthrough. They mistake the discomfort for failure, not realizing it is simply the death of the old self. You have asked for a new reality, and now the universe is rearranging everything to match that new state. And rearrangement often looks like disorder before it takes the shape of harmony. But that's where your power lies, not in controlling the outer, but in mastering the inner. You are being invited now to release the addiction to appearances and step into the knowing that the unseen creates the seen. The world is simply a delayed reflection of your sustained assumptions. And you, right now, are standing at the edge of that reflection, turning in your favor. Stay with it. Keep going. The breakthrough is not coming. It's already here, unfolding, aligning, appearing. In the next few moments we share together, we'll show you exactly why you're closer than you think, how to hold your ground, and why you will soon look back on this moment in awe. It how powerfully life responded when you chose to believe more in your unseen reality than in your temporary circumstances. Every breakthrough follows a secret, hidden pattern, often unnoticed until you pause and reflect on the cycles of your life. And the pattern is this. Before the breakthrough, there is always a rise in resistance. Not sometimes, always. The old identity, sensing its own demise, begins to surface through emotional turmoil, external chaos, misunderstandings, delays, even sudden losses or disruptions. It's not punishment, it's transition. Neville taught that your assumptions harden into fact. But what he also knew, and what many forget, is that your past assumptions have also hardened into the reality you see today. And when you dare to believe something different, when you boldly assume something new about yourself, that old structure built by old thoughts begins to shake. Picture it like an old building being demolished before the construction of something greater. The dust, the noise, the collapse, it can feel overwhelming. And yet it's necessary. You can't build a new reality on the foundation of who you used to be. So when things appear to fall apart, it doesn't mean you failed. It means the old can't stand anymore because your new assumption has started to build its foundation beneath the surface. And sometimes that looks like relationships ending, jobs shifting, sudden emotional waves sweeping over you. Don't judge the process. Recognize it. Resistance is the echo of your old self, begging you to turn back. It's the whisper of a previous version of you asking, "Are you sure you want to let me go?" And your job is not to argue, but to gently affirm, "Yes, I am done with the old. I am not turning back. I live from my fulfilled desire now." Neville made it simple. Do not condition your assumption. Just assume it is done. That's it. Not assume it's done if everything stays comfortable. Not assume it's done if people agree with you. Just assume. And what happens next happens by law, not by luck. When the resistance shows up, welcome it as a sign that things are finally shifting beneath the surface. Because here is the paradox of transformation. The more discomfort you feel before your breakthrough, the closer you are to it. Everything that no longer matches your new state must rise so it can leave. Think of it like the final out-breath of an old life. While the in-breath of your new life begins to fill your lungs, it feels chaotic on the surface, but beneath the surface there is order, movement, rearrangement. Your task now is not to eliminate the resistance, it's to outlast it, not with strain, but with stillness, not with effort, but with faith. You don't fight the storm, you become the calm within it, knowing that the storm exists only because you dared to believe in a brighter sky. The hidden pattern of resistance before success is not here to stop you. It's here to prove to you that you've already begun. And if you keep going, if you persist in the unseen over the seen, the world will not only change, it will become a mirror reflecting back your faith made visible. Your breakthrough is not somewhere in the distance. It is right here, disguised as the very discomfort that is asking you to stay loyal to the new world you have already claimed within. Keep going. The pattern will resolve itself. The discomfort will pass, and you will emerge from this moment no longer hoping for success, but living in it. There is a subtle trap that nearly everyone falls into at some point on their journey of creation. The desperate search for outer signs, numbers, coincidences, repeated patterns. We crave the reassurance that something is working, that something unseen is finally starting to move on our behalf. But Neville, in all his wisdom, taught us that the real signs are not found out there. The true confirmation that you are on the right track is not the flicker of something changing outside, but the profound, unmistakable change in your inner state. Neville explained, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Think about that. Automatically. Not forcefully, not manipulatively, not with strain, automatically. The moment you shift your inner assumptions, the world must follow. The outside is a delayed echo of the inside. Always, without exception. So while it's beautiful to notice repeating numbers or to see a certain word show up again and again, or to have people unexpectedly mention the very thing you've been imagining, understand this. Those things are simply the outpicturing of what has already changed within you. They are not the cause of your success. They are the effect. The real sign, the most powerful evidence, is that growing feeling of calm, certainty, and knowing that it's already done. Inner signs are unmistakable. They feel like sudden shifts of peace in the middle of chaos. They feel like lightness replacing anxiety. They feel like a detachment from needing things to happen on your schedule, because you already know they're yours. And when that inner feeling of normalcy with your desire begins to rise, that's when you know you've crossed into true creation. Neville often reminded his students to live from the end. Why? Because when you dwell in the assumption that you already are what you wish to be, the outer world must move by law. This is not mere positivity, it's causality. It's the ancient, timeless truth that consciousness creates reality, not sometimes, always. So instead of chasing signs, I invite you to notice the deeper, quieter signs, the moments you catch yourself imagining the wish fulfilled naturally, effortlessly, the times when you stop rehearsing the worst-case scenario and begin rehearsing, almost accidentally, the best case. These are the true breakthroughs. And from those subtle, beautiful shifts, the world must mirror your new state back to you. And here's the most powerful part. When you stop obsessing over outer signs and fall in love with the inner knowing, the outer signs start flooding in faster than you could ever imagine. Why? Because you're no longer creating from a state of lack or need, but from fullness and fulfillment. The universe is not withholding your desires. It's responding to your state of being. And when you choose to live from the feeling of already having, already being, already doing, the outer must reflect that choice. The greatest sign of all is the one you feel right now, that sense of recognition, that shift within your heart that says, I don't need proof because I know. And in that knowing, the whole world bends to meet you where you are. Stay with that inner feeling. Protect it. Feed it. Let it grow. And soon, very soon, you will witness your invisible state crystallizing into visible form, just as Neville promised, just as you have always sensed was true deep down. The real sign has always been you. The single greatest obstacle standing between you and your breakthrough is not the world around you. It's not your circumstances, your family, your past, or your mistakes. It is the attachment you have to the old story of yourself, the identity that was formed through repetition of thoughts, experiences, failures, successes, and all the meanings you've assigned to them. That's the old self, and it doesn't dissolve through willpower or aggression. It dissolves through gentle, loving, sustained persistence in the new assumption. Neville taught that your true identity is I am, pure, formless awareness, capable of assuming any role, any state, any identity. And yet, most of us unknowingly cling to the familiar feelings of limitation because they feel safe, even if they make us miserable. It's familiar misery, and that familiarity is what keeps people looping in the same experiences year after year. But you're here because you've dared to imagine something greater. You've dared to loosen your grip on that old identity. And that alone is a victory most will never claim. The old self may whisper, but what if nothing changes? And your response is simple. Things have already changed because I have changed. Persistence in the new assumption is not about pretending something you don't believe. It's about choosing moment by moment to dwell in the feeling of already being the one you desire to be. It doesn't require perfection. It requires return. Return to the new state again and again. Every time you return, you weaken the old story's hold on you. And one day, perhaps sooner than you think, you'll realize that the old story no longer feels true. It will be like waking from a dream you once thought was reality. And in that waking moment, you'll understand why Neville emphasized that imagining creates reality. Not because it's wishful thinking, but because reality itself is shaped and molded by your sustained assumptions. The outer world has no choice but to mirror your inner conviction. Even when the world shows you evidence of the old, you persist. Even when doubts rise like waves, you persist. Even when nothing seems to be changing, you persist. Why? Because you're not living from the evidence. You're living from the knowing. Persistence is not force. Persistence is faith made visible. It is the quiet, steady heartbeat of the Creator, knowing that what is held within will, by law, be expressed without. Keep persisting. The old self has no power unless you give it power, and you are no longer that version of yourself who doubts, fears, or worries. You are the one who remembers the truth, lives from the truth, and experiences life reshaped by the truth. The old self is dissolving right now. Stay faithful to the new. It is already yours. There is a sacred paradox at the heart of manifestation. The very moment you stop needing it, stop searching for it, stop trying to force it into appearance, is the very moment it begins to move toward you in ways you cannot predict or control. This is not apathy. This is not giving up. This is surrender. And surrender is the key to opening the door to your manifestation. Neville said, "Creation is finished. Everything you have ever desired exists now in another dimension of consciousness, fully formed, fully alive. Your job is not to make it happen, but to align with it through assumption, through the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours. But what blocks it, delays it, distorts it, is the constant checking, doubting, waiting, proving. Letting go is the act of stepping into the naturalness of the fulfilled state. When you truly let go, something inside you relaxes. You stop rehearsing conversations where you try to justify your desire. You stop mentally arguing with reality about why you deserve it. You stop imagining how and surrender to the is. It is done, it is mine. I am that I am, and in that surrender you return to your power. Neville spoke often of imagining until the inner vision took on the tones of reality. Not forcing, not straining, but gently allowing the scene to live within you as though it were the most natural thing in the world. And the moment it feels natural, the bridge of incidents begins to unfold effortlessly. Letting go is not abandoning the desire. It is embodying it so completely that you no longer feel a separation between you and it. It is yours. It has always been yours, and this is why so many experience sudden breakthroughs the very moment they stop searching and simply rest in the assumption. The world catches up with the shift that already occurred within you. What you desire is already finished, complete, waiting for you to accept it, not through effort, but through surrender. The outer world does not need to be manipulated. It needs only to reflect your internal state of fulfillment. And fulfillment is found the moment you stop chasing and start living as though it's already yours. Right now, you can take this breath and decide, I have it. I am it. I no longer need evidence. I am the evidence. And watch how life rearranges itself to prove you right. If you want your manifestation to show up quickly and naturally, the key is normalization. Neville taught this in every lecture, in every demonstration. It must become normal to you. What does this mean? It means that the desire you have must stop feeling distant, special, far off, or extraordinary. It must begin to feel ordinary, casual, normal. Why? Because what feels normal to you is what you unconsciously expect, and what you unconsciously expect you create. The mistake many make is that they keep their desires on a pedestal. One day it will happen. If only I could have this. They treat their desire like something rare or difficult, and that very posture pushes it further away in experience, even though in consciousness it's already complete. Neville explained that the moment you assume something is already yours, the entire universe rearranges itself to bring that assumption into visible form. The only thing that delays it is the feeling of it being special. But think about it, what feels special feels separate, and creation happens when you dissolve separation. Normalization is the art of bringing your desire into the everyday feeling of life. Imagine not as a spectator, not as someone hoping to experience it, but as someone who already has it, effortlessly. You don't get excited about brushing your teeth or wearing your shoes because it's normal for you. That's the level of casual expectation that accelerates manifestation. So, how do you normalize the fulfilled state? By saturating your imagination with scenes, words, tones, feelings that reflect you already living in that state. By playing those inner movies, not with strain, but with casual joy. By speaking of yourself inwardly as someone who already is that which they desire to be. Neville would tell his students, go to the end, and the end is not a moment in time, it's a state of consciousness. When you live from the end, you no longer hope, you know. Normalization happens when you practice seeing yourself already in possession of what you want. So often that the mind stops arguing with it. It feels obvious. It feels true. And then the external must conform. Many of Neville's students shared stories of how they would imagine having a certain amount of money or a particular job or the love they desired, and after days or weeks of imagining, the feeling of trying would disappear. It would feel as natural as breathing, and that's when things began to happen. You are not meant to chase desires. You are meant to assume them into being. Normalize the fulfilled state. Make it yours by default. And soon you'll find yourself wondering how you ever doubted it in the first place. The secret is not effort. The secret is normalcy. And the moment your inner world accepts your desire as normal, the outer world will call it a miracle. But to you, it will feel like home. If you've ever felt a sudden, almost overwhelming sense of doubt right when you start feeling that your manifestation is near, you're not alone. It happens to nearly everyone. And not because you're doing something wrong, but because you are doing something incredibly right. Doubt rises not because you're failing, but because you are succeeding. Neville explained that when you move from one state to another, the old state fights for survival. It does this by bringing up all the old beliefs, all the old memories of failure, all the familiar disappointments of the past. Why? Because it wants you to stay the same. It doesn't do this out of malice. It does it because it's familiar. You've built so many years of thought, emotion, and experience around the old version of yourself that when you step into the new, it feels like foreign territory. And the mind loves what is familiar, even if it's painful. So when you start to dwell in the fulfilled state, when you start to feel the reality of your wish being accomplished, the mind throws up doubt like a defense mechanism. But here's the beautiful part. That very doubt is proof that you are moving into new territory. It's evidence that you are shifting your state, expanding your self-concept, redefining who you are in relation to the world. And the presence of doubt is not a sign to stop, it's a sign to persist. Neville always said, your assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Even when doubt is screaming at you, your assumptions sustained long enough will overpower it. It is not a battle of strength, it is a practice of persistence. Doubt appears because you are approaching the threshold of the new you. Imagine it like walking through a doorway, and the moment you step into the light of your fulfilled reality, the echo of your old life calls out one last time, asking, "Are you sure?" And your answer is always, "Yes. I choose the new. I am the new." There is nothing more reassuring on this path than the countless stories of ordinary people who have used Neville's teachings to completely transform their lives. These are not gurus or mystics. They are people just like you who decided that their inner world mattered more than their outer world. One of Neville's most famous students imagined receiving a letter with a specific outcome. Every day she saw herself holding that letter, reading the words that confirmed her wish fulfilled. Weeks later, the very letter arrived with the exact words she had imagined. Another student, completely broke and desperate, imagined himself employed in his ideal job. He assumed the feeling of already being successful, even though his reality showed nothing but lack. In a matter of days, a seemingly random encounter brought him the opportunity he had imagined. What do these stories have in common? Persistence in the imaginal act, living from the end, refusing to be discouraged by outer appearances. And always, the result was success. These stories are not exceptions. They are demonstrations of the law in action, and they exist as reminders that what you hold within will always express itself outwardly if you stay faithful to the inner reality. All this time, you may have been searching for a sign, a confirmation, something to prove to you that you are on the right path. But the truth is, the greatest sign of all has always been you. The desire itself is the sign. The vision, the imagination, the quiet pull toward a greater life. That is the universe speaking through you. That is life confirming itself in you. You would not have the desire if it were not already yours in another dimension of being. Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. Your attention brought you here, to these words, to this very moment, and that is your confirmation. You are not waiting for life to approve of you. Life is waiting for you to approve of yourself. You are not waiting for the world to give you a sign. You are the sign. And right now, in this very moment, you can decide to never again wait for something outside of you to tell you who you are. You already know. You have always known. You are not hoping anymore. You are living it. You are breathing it. You are being it. And the world by law must rise to meet your assumption. This is your sign. This is your moment. This is your breakthrough. Now you know why you found this video today. Not because of coincidence, not because of accident, but because your deeper self guided you here to remember what has always been true. Your breakthrough isn't coming, it's here. It's alive right now. It's breathing through you, speaking to you, reminding you that the old life is over and the new one has already begun. You've seen the pattern of resistance before the breakthrough. You've realized that signs don't come from the outside. They come from the shift within. You've learned that the moment you let go, it starts arriving, and that normalizing your fulfilled state is the fastest way to live from your wish. You've heard the stories. You've seen yourself in them. And most importantly, you now know that you were never supposed to wait for confirmation from the world. You are the confirmation. I want you to really feel this with me now. Not with effort, but with certainty. It's done. It's mine. I am that I am. Say it with me right now, in your heart, in your inner speech, with every ounce of who you are. It's mine. It's done. I am. The only thing that ever separated you from your fulfilled life was the idea that you were separate from it. But now you know there's no separation. You and your desire are one. You've already crossed the bridge. You're just walking through the final scenes before it's completely visible. Don't stop here. Keep going. I want you to do two things right now. First, comment below. Tell me who you now claim yourself to be. Speak it as if it's already yours. Because the moment you declare it in writing, you deepen the impression in your subconscious. You don't need to convince me. I already believe in you. Do it for you. Comment who you are now. Second, subscribe to this channel because we go deep here. These teachings are not surface-level motivational words. This is ancient truth being remembered by you again, and you deserve to be surrounded by reminders of who you really are. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone else who needs to remember their power. Become the light for someone else the way you've just remembered your own. You didn't come this far to stop here. Your breakthrough has already begun. The signs are not coming. You are the sign. Now go live from the end, not as a wish, but as your truth. And as Neville would say, you are free to choose the state you occupy. Choose wisely. Choose boldly. Choose now. It's mine. It's done. I am.